Okay, Easy Allies, we're on our way to EVO. Well, at least Ben is, but we're all excited for you. Extremely excited, in fact. So we wanted to check in with you, Ben, see what the situation is as we're now closing in on your first ever EVO run, right?
Yeah, days away. We're shooting this Tuesday night, and it's my match is Friday at 2 p.m.
Oh, man.
And we thought, just for the fun of it, because I've never been in a fighting game tournament before. And so we thought it'd just be fun to kind of chronicle the journey, the before and the after, and how everything went and all that stuff.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's an interesting place to start out since you've never been in a fight.
Right.
Well, you went big, and I like
Right.
that. So where's your entry point at this EVO? What exactly are you going to be, what is the first round for you look like? Yeah,
so that's a great question, because I imagine like a lot of people watching this maybe don't know quite exactly what the setup is, but EVO was not actually what I wanted to enter. They're doing CEO in December, and it's going to be the first in-game big major fighting game tournament in a long time, and I really wanted to go to that, but by the time I got to registration, everything was full, and then they opened up more slots, and it was full again before I could get there. And so what's interesting about EVO is it's all online. It actually the EVO is going on right now. They've already had a lot of matches. And, because it's all online, registration was a lot more open. And so there was a spot open for that. It was free registration as well, which is really nice. And I'm playing Guilty Gear Strive. And it's the only game that I'm doing because it's really the only game that I've been playing consistently. And I'm going to be playing Ramlethal, who is very strong in the game.
And you're quite good.
No.
Well, I got the review. It has some good footage in there.
Okay.
But this is nice. What an appropriate game since currently you're loving it. I know this is something, so it's kind of perfect, kind of fortuitous timing. I think that you're able to go in specifically for this game because it's such a current passion. Where do you stand with it right now? How have you been preparing? How do you feel at this point, days away?
Yeah, that's been kind of the interesting thing. Like, that's kind of the crux of this question. And I feel a lot differently than I expected to feel at this point, because every time I play Guilty Gear Strive, I do love it. I really think right now it's my game of the year.
Wow.
Just because of so many decisions that it made that I don't think we really have the space to talk about in this video. But initially with EVO, I was like, okay, I got to train every day. I got to, be really good. And then the more I thought about it, it was like, that's not really why I'm entering EVO. Like, I'm not entering EVO to do extremely well. Obviously, it'd be great, but I'm doing it just because I love the game and I want to have fun. And it's been harder than I imagined fitting in EVO training and being committed to it amongst real life obligations and Easy Allies obligations and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And so,
the EVO prep could easily be full time in itself.
Yeah. And it's hard for me because I'm to a fault, like an extremely competitive person. Yeah. I hate losing. And so battling that feeling with like, oh, I need to train, but then also reminding myself like, dude, you're just doing this for fun. Like, don't worry about it too much.
So what does the first round specifically look like for you, though? Do you know your opponent?
Yeah.
Do you know any background on them at all? How are you feeling in terms of how you might stack up, just in anticipation of it?
Oh, that's such a great question, Don. So it's pools, right? And what's nice about EVO is they have open tournaments where anybody can join. And then they have invite-only tournaments, so that you see, typically you see very well-established sponsored pros. But what kind of the love story with EVO is, like, theoretically anybody could get to the top, right? It could just be a random person. So my person that I'm going up against, I'm not going up against a super well-known player. I'm not going up against a Sonic Fox or a Justin Wong or any super recognizable player. I almost feel bad blowing this player up because I'm not. I don't mean in a bad way, but they're an enigma. Their name is just I Love God.
That's good.
And they're their avatar is an anime avatar, so they could be anybody. I don't know.
Well, you're in good company.
Yeah,
I guess.
maybe I'll become friends with I Love God after the tournament.
It's really exciting. You must be a little nervous, mixed with exciting. Just the first competition ever, and such a big one too. Has there been anything in preparing for it that's been unexpected, or that you've enjoyed more than you thought, or just didn't see coming? Being that this is your first competition that you're entering?
Yeah, and I don't know if this is just like Easy Allies is in a different place now, but I remember when Tekken 7 came out. I really loved Tekken 7. Played a lot of Tekken 7, and just had a good time. Even though I sucked at the game, I had a good time with it. And I tried to stream Tekken 7. I streamed Tekken 7 a number of times, and I remember the reason that I stopped streaming is there would just be people in chat that would make it not fun anymore. You know, that special kind of like antagonistic person where you're like, you're not helping, you're just like making this not fun. They were just fun spoilers. And so it was like, I don't know if like streaming fighting games, like I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it if that kind of behavior is there, because it just makes me so mad, and I just don't know if I have the patience for it.
It's a distraction,
Yeah, and so anytime I stream a fighting game, I kind of get nervous because I just think of that time period. But streaming Guilty Gear has been incredible. No one, I mean, not that they're relatively tiny streams, but like no one has been shitty at all. Like to the point where like I'm almost in disbelief. People have just been really helpful. Like I'll be doing a match, and they'll give feedback, which I desperately need, but it's just done in a super constructive way. I'll have like an idea, like, oh, can this connect into this? And then somebody would be like, oh, you should try that as a low. And so I feel like, just in the few times that I've streamed Guilty Gear, they have been so helpful, and that process has elevated me so much. That like no matter what happens with Evo, like I kind of just want to keep doing this because it's been so productive, just the streams. And so I think like that's going to be one of the biggest takeaways.
That's got to feel so good, having that kind of supportive, completely supportive, having a couple hundred corner people in your corner instead of even one or two hecklers makes a huge difference.
Right.
Less to think about and everything like that. But right now you're feeling pretty calm, it sounds like. You've got a nice balance.
I'm extremely nervous, but it feels like I'm nervous in a healthy way, where like I think I'm nervous because I've never competed like this before, and so it's just kind of the unknown that is making me nervous.
The unknown, but ultimately we know it's just going to be a lot of fun, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a huge thing to be. I know for me, it's super exciting, just vicariously to be witnessing you do this.
Definitely,
it feels like a really big thing,
Yeah. The last two things that I want to say is, I think this not being in person has impacted me more than I thought it would. Because I've played, typically when I play fighting games, I play them online. I don't have like people locally that I really play with. But I went to EVO in 2019, and it was truly, like, no hyperbole, one of the best experiences of my life.
I remember you talking about that.
And you just being there and feeling the energy and feeling the passion and kind of like it culminating in this big event, it feels really special. And like EVO, like even if you don't play fighting games, you probably know what EVO is. And this year it just has felt less special because it's online. And I totally respect why they're doing it. But I think just because of the pandemic and everything, and tournaments being, pretty much exclusively online, EVO this year just hasn't had the same gravitas for me in a weird way.
Yeah, so it's odd that it's your first year, but there is such a different change of venue in a lot of ways, I guess. Maybe if you get through it successfully, we're not too far. You can take a quick victory lap to Vegas or something to celebrate, something to make it feel a little bigger.
It's funny because for my birthday, I went to Vegas.
Okay.
And I gambled. I did slots, which were terrible, and blackjack for the first time. And I was like, I could do this every month. I had so much fun with blackjack. That's another conversation for you specifically. Yeah, I had a great time. But the last thing that I wanted to say, and I realized that this is kind of a shitty thing to say because I realize I'm in a pretty privileged situation. But I was talking about the stream and like how important it was to like connect with people and have them help you in real time. Because before I was streaming Guilty Gear, kind of in preparation for EVO, I would do what a lot of people do: look up combo videos online, look up tutorials online, watch matches on Twitch, that sort of thing. And that stuff is helpful, but I think you really need, it really accelerates your learning when you have somebody to be there, whether in person or not, to really help you. And so whether that's a friend, whether that's streaming, whether that's joining a Discord, this experience has really made me realize that if you want to get better, you need that training partner.
Well, Ben, we're excited, dude. I can't wait to see what happens one way or the other. It's awesome.
Awesome.
And we're looking forward to seeing how this all plays out.
Yeah, thank you so much, Don, for sitting down with me.
Can't wait to see what happens. Go get him, Ben.
Woo! Don, this project, we've had to delay it over and over and over again because there would always be things that kind of sprang up and it got postponed.
Yeah.
But here we're finally able to sit down and talk about my EVO 2021 experience, even though it happened months ago.
It's okay, Ben. Rest easy. I've been 100% media blackout on this thing, so it's going to be all brand new to me. You're going to shock me with whatever you spill forth right now. I've
been purposely kind of keeping it under wraps for this video, and it's exciting to talk about. And so the first thing that I want to say is this is my first fighting game tournament experience ever.
Yeah.
And I was extremely nervous.
Yes.
But I would say overall, I truly had such a fun time, and I was like, I would totally do this again.
Good, yes.
I do wish it was in person.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the future that can change. But, okay, so the way that it went.
Yes.
So this was an online-only tournament.
Yeah.
Free to sign up. In my bracket, and I'm not sure if the same was true for other brackets, but it was disqualification after disqualification after disqualification. People just not showing up to their matches.
Oh, no.
It was rampant. My first match, the guy showed up, and I was playing Ramlethal. Ramlethal was a character that I used to enter the tournament, and he was playing Nagoriyuki, and he beat me.
Okay.
And it was a good match, because it was one of those matches where I was like, that person totally deserved to win. He was better than me, but I feel like I could have won it. It wasn't such a blowout where I was like, oh man, I don't know what to do there.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the thing that was kind of driving this feeling of I would totally do that again, is I felt like I could have beat him.
Yeah.
Then my next match, the person got DQ'd.
Oh, okay.
They didn't show up. And this was actually the most nerve-wracking part of the entire tournament, because the way that it worked is you're supposed to check into your match, and they give you a certain amount of time before they, DQ the person who doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting there watching the timer go down and being like, are they going to show up?
Yeah.
Are they going to show up? Are they going to show up? Okay, they didn't show up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, God, that's intense.
Then the next match that I went into, it's been months, so I think this happened twice. I could be getting this wrong, but I think my next match, the person also DQ'd.
Oh my gosh.
And then
that almost adds more tension, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Than having to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was two people. And then we get to, what is this, the fourth match now, right? So I've gone ahead in the tournament, not by wins, but by just kind of
finding your way.
Yeah. And so my fourth match, I go up against a Leo, And if anybody watches the Ben Dojo stream, I say over and over and over again, I'm just like, I just can't handle this character. And so when he popped up and he was playing Leo, I was just like, it was the mental damage was already
scenario.
The mental damage was already off the charts.
Yeah.
But there's another one, so I lost that one as well. And so the 2 matches that I played in, unfortunately, I did lose both of them. But it was another match where I was like, I feel like if I had a couple of more, I feel like I could have done it and figured it out. But it was really exciting. I was really grateful that in both the matches I played, the connection was totally fine. That wasn't an issue at all. And it was just fun. I mean, because I got out so early, it didn't last too long.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. And shout out, I do want to give a huge shout out to the tournament people and everybody that was organizing it. Everybody that was handling it, like all of the moderators on Discord, I thought were super organized and on top of it, and they communicated everything really well. I can't imagine what it was like dealing with that many entrants across that many games, and they were super on top of it.
It's unbelievable that they could actually pull something like that off and have it go off fairly without a hitch, from what it sounds like.
Yeah, it was super smooth.
Hopefully next year it'll be on again live. Let me ask you about that first match real quick. Now, you said it was close and you feel like you maybe could have done it. Was there anything in particular that you didn't pull off that you're like, oh, if I'd get another shot? Or was it just the type of situation of this was a pretty good match. If I just would have been able to go again at this guy, I might have been able to overcome it. I mean, was there anything in particular that you struggled with specifically? Or was it just the type of deal of hey, it didn't go my way this time, but it could have because it was that close?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
That really is.
I don't know if you remember, probably.
Yes.
That's probably the problem.
That's the thing is I'd have to go back and review the footage. Yeah, so this isn't going to be the best answer. It isn't going to be as fresh of an answer as if I had done this commentary just after the match. But the thing that I would say is I can't necessarily pinpoint any particular thing in those 2 matches specifically, but that feeling that I described of being if we could have done this a little longer, I think I could have overcome and won. So that leads me to believe that I just wish I had grinded more matches and done more specific matchup knowledge things, because in a lot of my preparation, it wasn't so much of I've got to fight this character or I've got to fight that character. It's just I want my execution to be better. I want my general gameplay to be better. And so I think in the future, if I had buffed up my character knowledge more specifically, oh, okay, that I can punish, that's unsafe, this character's players of this character really like to do this. I think that was a huge weakness.
That's got to be a great feeling, though, Ben, because I would assume it's motivating instead of frustrating. Where if it could have been something where you're the nerves of the tournament made you know what I mean? You're I know I didn't play up to my level. It's got to feel kind of motivating, especially for next time, I would imagine, to think of.
Yeah,
because it wasn't the type of deal of oh, getting in the tournament shell-shocked me or something, which you don't know until you're there. I don't know, I'd probably break down and fall to pieces.
It is, and it's nerve-wracking. You're not wrong about that.
That's a lot of pressure.
But what is interesting, and I don't know if this is just because over time I've played more fighting games to the point where I get a little bit more comfortable, each year. But I think part of it, especially since it was my first tournament, in your head you're if people are entering a tournament, they must be godlike. They must be so good.
Yeah.
And I totally think the people that beat me deserve to win. But again, they didn't feel so far beyond my level that it was unreachable. That was the motivating thing, where it's I could beat them. I know I could, and that's what's motivating.
That's a nice feeling. Sure. Yeah, if you do take the L, that's a nice way to feel, because you want to come back and get revenge then, and then you feel like you can.
Yes, and in a way, I think it's good. So anybody who's maybe nervous about going into a tournament and hasn't done it, I think the reason that's good, even if you go 0-2, even if you get destroyed, it demystifies the whole thing.
Yeah,
and I think that's a big part of it.
And a huge step too. It's the comfort zone. Suddenly you're in a whole new realm now that you can play, and that's sweet. I love it. Glad you took this first step. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Must be an awesome feeling, dude.
Yeah,
big time.
I wish I could have come here and been oh, I got 1 W, but
it doesn't matter. You stood there waiting and didn't take it, right? I mean, other people were dropping.
Technically we got a W.
You got something there.
But Don, yeah, thank you for being a part of this and let me bouncing my thoughts and feelings off of it. Really good questions.
100%, Ben. It was awesome.